Hello everyone, this is Yeshua said my name. In this video, I'm going to be giving you just a small sample of the heretical statements made by Pope Francis. As a matter of fact, there are many Catholics, um, both ex-Catholics and practicing Catholics, that are alarmed by the things they've heard coming out of this papacy in Rome. Now, the quotes I'm going to share with you and the statements that he has made that I deem heretical and blasphemous are only a small sampling of what he has said. And of course, if you backtrack down through the centuries, through the papal dynasty, down through the generations, both in the Catechism and other Catholic writings, as well as direct quotes from the popes themselves, there is no shortage of heretical and blasphemous statements that you could look up and find out for yourself. The Pope said, and actually this was back in July 2017, again, I'm just going to start with a few, all right? So there's many here, and I'll put links down in the description section for these news articles where I'm getting these quotes from. The Pope warned that a relationship with Jesus is dangerous and harmful. He says here, Pope Francis raised eyebrows again after warning Catholics, of course, to me, the world, that to have a personal, quote, a personal, direct, immediate relationship with Jesus Christ is dangerous. Now, why would the Pope say such a thing? In my opinion, he is saying this because Satan does not want people to know that they can have a direct personal relationship with Christ. When Jesus died and gave his life for us on the cross and paid our sin debt, the curtain in the temple in Jerusalem at that time was ripped in two. And that was to show us that we have direct and immediate access to Christ. When Jesus walked the earth, he invited people constantly to come to him. He repeatedly said, "Come to me. Come to me." He said, he even told people, "Do not hinder the children. Let them come to me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven." Never did Jesus discourage people from coming directly to him to have a relationship. Instead, Satan, working through the Vatican, wants to convince people that you have to go through Mary, you have to go through the saints, you have to go through the Pope or the priests, that you cannot have a personal, direct relationship with Christ. This is false. This is not scriptural, and this is blasphemous. The Pope declared as well, and this is from the Independent. He quotes here that the evolution and the Big Bang are real and that God is not a magician and able to do all things. That's what he said here again. And this is from the Independent. He said here that the theories of evolution and the Big Bang are real and God is not a magician with a magic wand able to do all things. That he created beings and set them in motion to evolve naturally, and that that evolution does not contradict creation. In fact, it requires it. And this is what Pope Francis goes on to say here. So in saying that the Big Bang and evolution are real, he's trying to detract power away from God as being the almighty creator. And in stating that God is not able to do all things, taking away God's ability to do everything, it says in the scripture repeatedly, God says, "Is anything too difficult for me?" There's nothing too difficult for him. He can do all things. In the UN, here's another quote from Pope Francis when he went to the UN and he spoke there, and he said, "I come in my own name." Now, Jesus prophesied in the book of John, chapter 5, that I come in my Father's name, and me you reject. You won't receive. But another will come in his own name, and him you will receive. And he was speaking to the world at that time. He was speaking to the Sanhedrin, the religious leaders of his day, and even the crowds surrounding him, listening to him preach. Another will come in his own name, and him you will receive. Now, the very fact that Pope Francis even comes taking the name Holy Father is blasphemous. He's taking the title of God himself. Only God holds the title of the Holy Father. All right. In Isaiah, it was said that when Jesus was born, his name would be called the mighty God, singular, the Holy Father. And when Jesus walked the earth, he said in the scriptures, "Call no man on earth your father, for you have one Father who is in heaven." And I'm going to do a video soon on religious titles and how Jesus looks down on that and actually told people, discouraged people from calling someone rabbi, teacher, Holy Father, anything like that. He totally condemns that. But the fact that he takes the title Holy Father, the Holy Father, that is blasphemy. That is to take the name of God. When Jesus walked this earth and he said, "I and the Father are one," they picked up stones to stone him. When he said, "I come in my Father's name and you will not receive me, but another will come in his own name and him you will receive." Pope Francis went to the UN and was addressed as the Holy Father, stating, I come in my own name. And they received him, did they not? All right, so I'll put a link down to that for you. But it goes on and on to talk about also how the Pope mentioned that if aliens were discovered and that he would baptize them. The Vatican knows full well about this alien UFO phenomena going on. As a matter of fact, I've stated in previous videos that the world will tell you that they are aliens, they're your creators, they're coming here to help usher man into an age of ascension and a golden age and a new world order. The Vatican's telescope in Rome, I'm sorry, on Mount Graham is named Lucifer. They have another telescope as well called the VAT telescope, the VAT. But what's interesting about this Lucifer telescope is that it is, and I've read this online in many different news sources, more powerful than the Hubble Space Telescope. So they know what is going on out there. There have been priests that have spoken to people that have come to visit and do interviews with the Lucifer telescope. The priests themselves have been quoted as saying that there are so many craft out there flying around that it makes it difficult for them to see what they want to see. They know that there are interdimensional spiritual beings out there, but what they're going to tell you is what the secular world is going to tell you. The Pope, the Vatican, they're all on board with this alien agenda, telling you that these are our space brothers. They're here to help mankind. They're creations of God as well. And if one of them or many of them visit the earth, I would baptize them. Okay? So, and there are priests, Jesuit priests, that work with the Lucifer telescope that have told people that we'd have to rethink the gospel message and the creation message as we know it if this disclosure happens. Now, I believe that this is going to be one of the many things in these last days that causes men to fall away from the faith, a great falling away. And men will not adhere to sound doctrine anymore, as the scriptures say. They'll question God. Is the gospel still applicable? Is it a myth about Adam and Eve? Were we really seated here? So on and so on. I mean, here you've got the Pope coming out of the Vatican and telling people that evolution and the Big Bang are true. He's already discrediting God as being the creator of all things, not able to do all things. So these are just a few examples, and I'll put the links down below for you in the description section. A few examples to those of you who are new to this of the heretical and blasphemous statements that have come out of this man's mouth. God tells us in his word that in the last days, Satan's own servants would come looking as messengers of righteousness. In the scriptures, it was prophesied in the book of Daniel and Revelation that the man of sin would come looking like a lamb, a messenger of righteousness on the outside, but he would be speaking the words of the dragon. So these are just a few statements. If I were to outline them all for you right now, I'd be sitting here for the next 2 hours, just presenting everything to you that has come out of the mouth of this Pope. But hopefully I'll be making another video in the future about more heretical doctrines and blasphemous statements that have come out of this papacy and those before him. And popes down throughout the generations, folks, have been quoted as saying in the catechism, other Catholic sources from bishops, cardinals alike, saints that are he ordained as saints, they're not, but quoting these blasphemous claims from the papacy. So that they have made both to be divine on earth, to command heaven and earth, and so on. So, I mean, I could go on and on about this. But for those of you who are new subscribers and maybe new to this topic, I wanted you to be familiar with just a few of the blasphemous statements that he has made. So God bless you. Thank you for listening, and more to come soon.